Regardless, we have entered into pick and ban for our second set. Game Talents, with side choice priority, have actually elected to go into red side in this matchup, perhaps saving that counter pick once again. We'll see if they decide to focus the jungle in this matchup as well, as already it's Malzahar and Kled. Again, these two were banned out in game number 1 from Snake, so no changes there. If Game Talents were to follow up, the next is Rengar and Gragas, if they want to stick with that same set of bans.
Yeah, could very well be. There's no reason to change our plan. Snake would probably look into this saying that our last plan was working. Just go back into it, maybe change up the jungle priority in the first phase so you don't run into the same situation. Game Talents, on the other hand, would look towards saying, hey, we have 2 threats now. Republic played incredibly well last game, and you look towards Gimgoon and he will always give you that reassurance. So Game Talents, they're going to be happy being on red side because being able to pick for your lane is very effective here.
Absolutely. Now, Echo is going to be banned away from Republic. They can't split push on Fiora, but they can on Echo. So ban the Echo.
You know what's really funny? Gimgoon has actually been playing that in champion in solo queue as well as
Echo?
AP Echo top. So that's possibly a flex pick.
That is an Ivern ban.
Okay.
Targeted out towards Snake. I don't see a hand up. Seems like that is a deliberate ban away towards SOFM. So again, triple jungle ban, but that means Camille ends up going through, and Flandre picks that up. If he's not able to carry on Jace, give him something with even more power.
And we saw Camille on Snake. It definitely ended pretty poorly for EDG. So Flandre, going back to his Flandre tactics, got the Jace last game. This time's on the Camille. He is going to look to carry this team. Could very well be a jungle Camille as well, but you know, we haven't seen that at all, so just not going to rule it out.
That would be surprising indeed.
With how many jungle bans going through.
Yeah, Lulu is the next pickup for Game Talents. Savoki going to be babysitting Shubin this time. And now Xiaoyu, will he pick away the jungle? Giving it a hover. He's thinking about it.
Not changing that plan.
It's the face of a man who's ready to steal away your jungle camps, SOFM.
It's all on SOFM to be able to change this, because with the triple jungle bans coming in, now it's basically Quadra because Kha'Zix is being taken away. It's all up to SOFM to pick it up on his first phase so he doesn't run into the same situation. Of course, he wasn't sad particularly about how his early game was being played out as Rek'Sai, and he's very comfortable with that champion. But you just don't want to give Xiaoyu an extra bit of skirmishing power.
Yeah.
Good for the composition, too, with Lulu.
Running up the tier list, I mean, you've still got Elise, you've still got Gragas possible before that Rek'Sai. We'll see if they decide to go for it, as right now it looks like Syndra, so still prioritizing those solo lanes from Snake, relying on the raw mechanical ability to just outplay in lane.
And when we get into this game, we said that SOFM was clearly the better jungler here. But if you just pick Kha'Zix and then ban everyone that's bad for Kha'Zix, then you know what? It doesn't really matter if the champion's just more powerful. So there we go. The Elise pick, gonna have to get nabbed up first phase.
Yeah, that means that Game Talents will get the opportunity to shift some of their bans around in second draft. We'll see how they adapt, as they're currently looking at a top laner, an AD carry, and a mid lane for Game Talents to round out their final picks. And again, all eyes are going to be on Shubin filling in for West this time around, if he will go for that more supportive style.
Yeah, you're mentioning the bans. I think it should get split up. Karma should be a ban. You have yourself a strong lane with the Lulu and pretty much any AD carry. You even have AD carry priority with the red side getting that first pick in the second phase. So get the Karma out there. Maybe even look to get the next best AD carry, which is either Caitlyn. Just try and force these AD carry bans so you get the best pick for you there. So the Karma, there we go. Strong pickup. If you can force Snake to pick up a Nami, then that would be really tough for them.
I mean, Crystal, so far those have been the big two that he's shown us in that support role.
Ooh, Vladimir.
But Vladimir is now banned away from Republic. They don't want to risk his ability to take those scrappy team fights. We've seen how terrifying Republic's Vlad can get.
Yeah, and historically, Vlad has just been good into Syndra. Syndra has early pressure, but Vladimir can be able to deal with that and have better team fighting in terms of flanking that Syndra. So Nami gets banned. They're not even going to give Crystal the opportunity to play the champion.
He's going to have to show us something new.
What support does this man have? He's only an AD carry player. Maybe you can play
support Draven.
Ashe support.
Support Draven Stoneborn Pact.
Oh no! Don't.
And then you Emax and slow them.
If you keep talking about this, I might just play it in solo queue.
And then
I'm warning you right now.
Iceborne Gauntlet, every time you toss out a Q,
Oh, God.
you get the slow. So that way you can just keep proccing Stoneborn Pack over and over and over. No, that's too far. Zed is the final ban towards Republic. And now Game Talents look to answer by putting Shubin on that AD carry, on that Caitlyn.
Yeah, they have the ability to pick up the AD carry right from the get-go. It's smart that Snake didn't decide to just ban out the AD carries because that's a shared pool. Not a lot of AD carries they're comfortable playing. Right now, Snake, they could just pick up an Ezreal. OQ's a fantastic Ezreal player. And sure, it's tough into Caitlyn and Lulu. But now I'm just more curious about what Crystal's willing to pick up. Lucian, maybe Braum.
Ooh, yeah. We'll have to see if he wants to go for the outplays, the duels, or if he plays the more defensive Lucian in this set, as it will be locked in, meaning final pick right now for Snake is that bottom lane of Crystal.
I would be interested in the Braum because he can deal with the Caitlyn traps fairly well. Can sit on one, pull up his shield, but Crystal now has to
Does that look like
out.
the face of a man who wants to sit back and be defensive?
Apparently
he even
not.
swapped over to Ignite.
Oh, no. I mean, a lot of
He plays Draven. This is going to be, we're going hook,
Okay.
we're going in, we're going to Ignite him.
This is going back into the past. We're getting some Lucian Thresh lanes here. Oh, wait, that is just lore. That is against the lore. You know what? Wait a second. Pause this right now.
That's the idea. That's why the lane is
Oh,
so hilarious,
no.
because they
Yeah.
have such good synergy in lane, but
Yeah.
lore-wise, they're worst enemies.
Yeah.
The wife steal lane.
I forgot about this lane matchup. It's so long ago that we saw this, and it's just every time I see them working together, if they get a kill together, I just feel bad.
And now Republic gets to take Twisted Fate in the mid lane. Huge mobility, excellent split push. Maybe not quite as big outplay
Wow.
as Echo, but this is Game Talents going back to what works.
This is a really big call out. He doesn't have an easy to use lane to go towards and get easy kills. Rumble's going to be hard to really solidify something, because especially against hopping around a Spider-Man in the top lane and Camille. And then you look towards the bottom lane and there's no real hard lockdown with Lulu and Caitlyn. So, and he even has a really difficult lane up against Syndra. He's going to have to build defensively to try and get out of this one. So I want to see what this man has got, because he's got a hard lane matchup and a hard lanes to really coincide with.
Yeah, hard life in general.
Yeah.
But again, Game Talents are going back to what works. They're running a 1-3-1. They've got Teleport, Twisted Fate. They've got a more utility AD carry. They swapped out their actual AD carry, not just the champion, but to a more utility-based, so that he can sit with Lulu, he can sit with Kha'Zix. Just keep waves cleared out in the mid lane while the side lanes do things.
Yeah, ain't nothing utility about that Caitlyn, unless if she can somehow trap them with beck and call. Just any time, any moment, people just sit on her trap. So no, it's difficult for Twisted Fate a little bit, unless if this team is able to set up a dive in the bottom lane incredibly well and just trap them under that tower. But it's up to them to play well together to be able to get that setting and make it easier for the Twisted Fate. So I want to see what his build is initially, because usually you go towards a Rod of Ages or even just Hexed Up GLP for the extra HP, maybe Abyssal Scepter, anything to really survive the burst coming out of Syndra. And usually how you play into Twisted Fate, because you have to learn how to play into Twisted Fate.
It's such a completely different style, because he can not only play against you, but also play against the minions.
Yeah, and you know that SOFM is an invading jungler, so he suddenly has to have in the back of his head, if I ever go in alone, I will get ultied on by Twisted Fate.
Yeah.
That is an instant collapse. Doesn't matter if Twisted Fate's getting shoved into his tower. He will just get there first.
There's so much potential for punishment here on Game Talents. And that's exactly what cost Snake the game in game number 1, as we've loaded onto the Rift 5-man invade.
No.
Republic's got gold card. He lands it. Instant cleanse from Zatai. Summoner spell, burn.
I just love the LPL graphics, because as they went into the matchup, showed you a glimpse of the
it's like there's something going on.
It's like, oh, they're all in that bush. Wonder what's going to happen.
Oh.
A lot of pick coming out of Thresh, a lot of picks. But we'll have to see what happens there. Ooh, doesn't have the Thunderlord, so he has the Courage of the Colossus, as you would expect from a Thresh player there. Easy flays, easy life.
Yep. Easy flays, easy plays. But he will be going up against the rather long range of Caitlyn, plus the assistance of Lulu to help it out. They're already trying to control this lane in the by sitting in brush.
Lulu has to check it with her Q. Is she going to do
coming.
it? Throw a Q in there. No.
Gets an auto play. There's Scourge of the Colossus. Quick shield to try to neutralize some of the damage. But Zavoki ends up getting the worst of that trade.
So, one point I want to actually touch on. Oh no, Zubin, get out of there.
Why? I mean, you got the ward, but at what cost? OQ and Crystal are just going to keep harassing. OQ eats some damage, but Crystal is super tanky this early on.
And so, you wouldn't expect me to say this, but the sustain advantage should be on OQ's side. Because OQ, yeah, he has, wait, Crystal's going for this random skirmishes. But yeah, you have the Targon's Embrace coming in from Thresh, so he should be able to proc it if they get access to the lane. Access is #1 word. But then Warlord is on Caitlyn. Warlord is something that definitely got changed. It's harder to be able to proc. You have to get the energized proc. You have to get the 100% on it. Much like if you were to get static shiv, you have to move around just a little bit, and it's not even
shard.
Yeah, and it's not even that much lifesteal off of it. So early on, it definitely got a nerf. So it's harder for him to regain that HP.
Yeah, it certainly is. We'll have to keep an eye on that bottom lane and see how Shubin does performing against OQ, if he can do a better job in West. As jungler's now on the bottom side of the map, Xiaoyu will clear out his blue, doesn't go for a full clear, but then again, neither does SOFM. He's racing into the river, and Scuttle Crab, as 3 game talents collapse on him. Xiaoyu face checks, gets a ward, but eats a lot of harass, trying to delay some of the damage there as Shubin now turns onto Crystal. That's Exhaust. Ignite being used on Shubin from Crystal. Auto attack pops him out, but there's no sign of Xiaoyu.
He's going in.
over the wall. Shubin heals, but now they turn on to SOFM. He's got Flash, looks for the execution. Is it enough? He gets the cocoon, but it is not. First blood, Flash under turret, game talents advantage.
Xiaoyu and Savoki live with just a little bit of life left on them, and that's going to feel really bad for Snake. They went all in on that entire skirmish, and that's a really heavy early game focus coming in from SOFM and OQ. Thresh, Lucian, Elise, they should have had a lot of favor in their, a lot of the pressure in their favor. Doesn't work out now. Zubin has double buff. That hurts. That hurts a lot.
It's a lot of peacemakers. Plus the regen of that red buff gets to top him off. He was at 200 health after that fight. Now he's back up to nearly full. Things are looking good for Game Talents fans as they start off taking advantage of SOFM very early on in almost a similar fashion to game #1.
I just think that we're going to have to look toward the replay. Probably not. If you're back at home, just replay it in the back of your minds. SOFM should not have chased down that kill. He was in a great position, got flash off of Zubin. That should have been it.
Then he hopped over 1v2.
Yeah.
Tried to outdamage
Oh,
Kha'Zix.
no.
Whoa! Cleanse off of cooldown means Zatai just walks into the turret, lands a stun of his own. Republic really wanted that.
Yeah, get the timings down, people. I think they probably recognized that it was back up, but they went for it anyways. Even had Lulu come in, which is a good timing from Lulu because Caitlyn was still on her way to the lane. If you have a free roam like that, take it. So that was great from Savoki to recognize the opening that he had and bring his jungler along with him.
Yeah, and take a look at how those bottom lane's items have actually evolved over the course of this. Berserker Greaves first out of Shubin with that first buy. No Vamp Scepter, no Pickaxe, going straight for movement speed and attack speed. Bit of a callback to almost the NACS when we saw this style of Caitlyn played by OQ to completely dominate lane, just by simply outranging Lucian and out-harassing him.
Yeah, and that'll do it. And it just looks towards, if you look toward the rune page of Caitlyn, we don't have access to that. But you probably have the usual Caitlyn rune page is like 17% attack speed.
Yeah.
Like a lot of attack speed piled up on. You get in the Berserker's Greaves as well, you're going through the minion wave. And even though you don't have a lot of damage on you, you're just going to be able to shove in as much as possible alongside Lulu. But there's still pressure on Lucian and Thresh to get the picks necessary. If the Thresh hook misses, then you have the ability to walk up.
It also makes you a lot safer compared to the no boots at all and a pickaxe. I mean, if you get hook flayed pulled in, Lucian Skips are going to try to burst you down. So perhaps Shubin trying to be a little bit more safe with this style. Or perhaps he's going to try to be aggressive. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. And what's fun about this, too, is Lucian going towards Vamp Scepter into Blade of the Rune King. Now, that's not special in any way, but it is special because going up against Warlord's Bloodlust, you know, you have the lifesteal advantage. If you have Vamp Scepter because it naturally builds into your next item, that doesn't mean anything. Suddenly, the lifesteal advantage that you have in lane does not amount to much. So the skirmishing power is suddenly in OQ and Crystal's favor.
3 people head towards the mid lane from Snake as they continue to prioritize that bottom lane. You saw Xiaoyu potentially looking for a gank up top before he completes his own recall.
Ooh.
As there's a control ward in River, Scuttle Crab, and 2 additional wards. Game Talents will know when Republic flanks. I mean, Crystal lands a hook. Meh.
Yeah, I know it's not going to turn anything. It's still fun to watch. Let's look at the P shooters coming out too. As OQ is going to be able to heal that up.
The BB gun.
Yeah. Oh, that stinks.
But does it though?
Just a little bit. He's gonna heal up in just 5 minutes.
I mean, he does have that Vamp Scepter, so he continues to top himself off. But yeah, Republic is finally level 6, dealing with Zetai's level 6. They're both going to look for a quick recall. And with this recall, ooh, get another hook.
He's just doing it for style. Like, I play this game.
With this next recall, Republic actually goes from Merc Treads into Catalyst.
Yep.
So he's building for the lane.
So we mentioned that the Catalyst, of course, he wants to be able to protect himself in this lane.
Yeah.
You want to keep yourself safe at all times. So my question now is if he's going towards Hextech GLP or if he's going to a Rod of Ages. Rod of Ages gives a lot more in terms of AP, HP, all that good stuff once you scale it up to 10 minutes. But of course, the utility goes towards...
The initial buy is pretty low.
It is, the initial buy is low, but also the utility advantage towards what we like to call, of course, the sprinkler. Be able to, that's what's nice about Hextech GLP is the active to be able to slow people.
The GLP 800?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a sprinkler. You didn't know that?
Never thought of that.
You rotted the grass.
I could totally see that. Yeah.
Of course, by watering the grass, you do make it's a little bit frosty, but
to me, whenever I think of the GLP 800,
yeah.
I think of Aurelion Soul because you build that with like Rylai's and Leandries and you burn people down, and the concept of an astral star dragon who builds stars for fun, flying down to Runeterra and then just watering his lawn.
He's been alive for a long time. I feel like he's probably fair.
Listen,
okay
even
with that.
star dragons can have a hobby.
Yeah. He's got to find peace somewhere, even though he's apparently blowing up planets. Not this one, because he's apparently just fighting on it.
Yeah.
He's just
well, I mean, he almost blew it up.
Squabbling.
But now blue buff being passed over to Republic. Xiaoyu's going to gift that over, and after the initial blunder of Snake, of SOFM, things nice and slow. Currently, Snake are going to try to rely on their strong laning phases to get a bit of an advantage.
That's
Here
a lot
comes
of
Crystal
people.
and OQ. Republic immediately eats the first burst of damage before being collapsed upon. Locked down under the turret. He gets denied. Teleport canceled by Gimgoon.
And Caitlyn just kind of awkwardly walking over saying, what do I do in this situation? She goes right back to the lane because this tower's going down 100%. No one expected the entirety of Snake to be coming down and just being able to take this tower and the member under it.
Yeah.
Big win for Snake. And Zubin's not really getting much off of it.
Raz?
Yep.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
No one.
5 people just, showing up in the mid lane. Republic is like, I should have seen it coming. Spanish Inquisition. It always happens.
Yeah,
every time.
Every year. Same time.
Every time.
Same time of day.
Yeah, Shubin, now he's got a BF sword on that P shooter, so it's starting to do a little bit of damage, but just nowhere near enough. Can't get any damage onto the turret. Narrowly sidesteps the hook. And with that mid-tier 1 gone, the first brick split amongst all 5 members of Snake, suddenly the threat of this Twisted Fate a little bit more reduced. And yeah, with the double Amptome, looks like it will be the GLP on this Twisted Fate.
Okay, there we go. And one thing about Twisted Fate, the best way to deal with it, this is why learning how to play against the Twisted Fate is so important, because you just have to sit in his lane.
Yeah.
Force him to not move elsewhere, and you'll win out. They don't do the whole sieging thing, they just kill him, and they take his tower, and it makes it a lot harder for them, but here we go.
Ooh, Xiaoyu leaps onto SOFM, he's got nowhere to go. He's got the tie on the wall, but there's Twisted Fate showing up. Quick assassination. Game Talents collapse and punish that jungler.
There we go. It wasn't collapsing on an invade from SOFM, but it was actually helping Xiaoyu's invade. So, that was a really good use of it. Now onus is on Sindra to be able to...
Whoa, they found Crystal. He stepped out of vision for just a bit too long, drops a lantern to shield himself, but he still has that tier 1 to keep him safe.
And Crystal just does not have his friend yet. OQ is traveling towards the lane. It's going to take a long time.
Blade of the Ruined King completely finished, yeah.
Just puffing it. I love how a lot of AD carries are just going for the hard rush on Blade of the Ruined King. It's a cheaper purchase. They don't even look towards the attack, or at least the movement speed and boots. Oh, you're just getting demolished.
Oh yeah, that Ocean Dragon's doing work to Xiaoyu. I haven't seen somebody mess up that bad since Uzi leapt into the pit.
It just happens all the time. What I love about Ocean Dragon is that it's relentless. So the movement speed is really, it's fast for the dragon.
Crippling.
And he slows you too. So he's like, yeah, I'm just going to keep slowing you, and I'm going to catch up, and I'm going to auto you again. Auto spacing like a beast. Yeah,
with the recall from Xiaoyu, SOFM immediately invades into the jungle, not to mention there's pressure from Flandre and a forward ward to keep an eye on Gimgoon. So SOFM is completely safe in this, but that doesn't mean that they're not collapsing. Recall out of Zatai, and Republic is there as well with Flash. SOFM uses his. Republic starts stacking.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of mana, and he does not have his ulti, so that's what SOFM has to worry about. Constant collapse in his own jungle and the enemy jungle. Yeah. He just can't do what he loves to do the most. So he has 0-2 and 0, and even though the lead is in Snake's favor, he's not feeling it. He's not. The money is not in his pockets. It's elsewhere.
Tragically, not doing quite as much as he needs to this early on. Snake, though, are up a massive amount of gold. 1,500 with that first turret and first brick. We're seeing some CS leads open up in the mid, the bottom, and especially in the top lane, where Flandre is nearly 20 CS up over Gimgoon on this Camille into Rumble.
And here's what's scary for Snake. Game talents, sure, the gold lead right now is in Snake's favor.
Yeah.
But you have a Twisted Faith that kind of unlocked, even though right now, yeah, he lost his tower, but he can use it in his favor to be able to shove out a wave and then hide in his own jungle, and then he can pick and choose where he wants to ulti. He can ulti towards the bottom lane, which is constantly shoving out. OQ and Crystal right now are making it their name known here. And then you look towards the top side, and that's what Camille is doing as well.
SOFM looks to set up a dive bottom, and they've got Zatai roaming down there as well. He's going to see the volatile Spiderling, and that means that Tier 1 cannot be defended by Shubin and Savoki. So Snake are going to break down this second turret of the game. Meanwhile, Ping's up top. Republic is on his way up there, but Flandre already leapt to safety.
Yeah, but Republic did not have his ulti. It's going to come up in just about 5 seconds. He was able to clear out that ward towards the top side. So Flandre is just playing it back. Flandre says, I don't need to do anything. My team is winning the game for me. So he's playing like a smart top laner should.
Exactly. Keeping himself safe, playing nice and defensive. Will spot Xiaoyu at the blue buff. Minor consolation prize. If you give up blue buff for an Ocean Drake and a Tier 1 turret, definitely worth it.
Yeah, he'll take it, as he should. Oh, they might go hard for this one.
This is the same spot as in the previous game, but they're going to force the fight, this time collapsing onto Crystal. They see the dragon go down, SOFM just completely abandons his support. Is like, sorry, dude.
Yeah, he did not gauge the situation at all, and guess who's not gauging it as well? Flandre should get out of here.
Yeah, leaps to safety. Gimgoon's got his equalizer, but instead just pushes the minion wave in. Let's see if they will be able to take this turret. 6 minions and half health.
That is a good trade for game talent. They're going to be able to take it. If they can take this tower.
Flandre's still there. He's fighting them for it. Oh, man, they've got OQ's help as well. Xiaoyu gets destroyed.
That was a great rotation from OQ. The bot lane tower's there. Why would he go bot? He's going to go straight top. But they're much slower in how the wave's getting pushed out here. So they're starting the push in the top side of the map. Thresh is pretty slow towards it, so Caitlyn's going to be able to get this. Question now is if they continue that push. Twisted Fate was hovering over, but he's not going to go in there. So they're not going to look to commit on it. They might look to just take this tower and defend topside.
Again, the consolation prize for game talents. They didn't get what they wanted, so they went for the top one. They didn't get top, so they went for bottom. That means they will have to sacrifice top, though. OQ is doing a lot of work, and they've got plenty of forward vision from Crystal and SOFM. So 3 turrets to 1 in favor of Snake. That puts them 2,000 gold ahead, but 1,000 of that gold, or excuse me, 2,000 of that is still standing on the map for game talents. So despite the fact that it is a slight advantage for Snake, if game talents win a few fights, they're going to be right back to even.
Yeah, it's going to be harder for game talents because Snake want the map open. They have a Lucian, they have a Syndra, they have a Camille, any of which can kill out anybody from game talents if they're left alone in a lane. Game talents wants to be able to set up numbers advantages, so they're going to be looking towards Twisted Fate to be able to break that.
But that's so scary when you're playing against a pick composition like this, when you've got cocoons and, as you've said, the hooks being tossed out, death sentence, and then Camille to follow up on it.
And you look towards Zubin. Zubin right now on the Caitlyn, he's nowhere near any sort of damage. He's got a BF sword, sure. He's got a Runan's Hurricane, but he doesn't want to push up this extra wave.
Zubin,
he doesn't want to do that. Zubin, you don't want to do that.
He
Zubin
sees that lots of damage from Syndra, makes it over the wall.
He's kind of outplaying Zatai. Wait a minute.
I mean, he's trying to. That's ace in the hole now.
That's he should not have done that much damage.
It's close, but he was forced to burn his flash to escape.
So he put himself in that situation. Never go for the second wave. Don't do it. That could have been a Lucian. Lucian could have taken your life. That could have been a Camille.
The superior duelist, yeah.
Any one of these players will kill you. That's the problem.
You had me doing the color thing where I was like, making sound effects instead of actually saying what's going on.
Woo!
Like using the ability names like, whoa,
Whoa.
and then,
Ah!
buddy, oh.
Just imagine you getting smacked up across the head.
Now that I've mentioned that, people in Twitch chat are going to be like, what is this?
What?
Listen in the fights, and you can hear the other person in the background making excited sound effects.
You're supposed to never reveal the trade. Never, don't do it. Don't do it.
Sort of the glass breaking. Oh my god, he's right.
People are just going to replay every single one of these fights. Game, Savoki,
Yeah.
tell you.
I mean, I like the idea. They leap over the wall and suddenly SOFM. Ho, ho.
I was actually waiting for the cocoon. He didn't do it. They didn't see
won
the value in it.
1v2. I think he would have learned his lesson by now.
Oh, OQ would have probably looked
OQ had 2 walls to make it over. He wouldn't have been in that fight unless he flashed, and OQ has not been in the best state of mind in terms of skirmishes.
Yeah, perhaps. It's still possible. Anything is possible.
It is. This is the LPL. Like, I would have loved to see SOFM flash cocoon into the brush and not even wait for OQ to show up. But again, this is now 17 minutes in. 2,000 gold lead for Snake. They're pressing their vision forward. They're looking for picks and opportunities, and they are denying game talents rather well.
Yeah, all of the vision being cleared up here. So Savoki definitely needs self-help. And then some, because OQ is able to completely shove this in, and they're just utilizing better side lane pressure. So someone has to answer to Camille on the bot side. If no one does, she's going to be able to take that tower. Someone has to answer to Lucian. More people have to do it because Lucian can actually duel most champions at the top side of the map. And that just amounts to Snake.
Oh boy.
Wait a second. I was praising
SOFM
you.
comes down, but there's the equalizer. They catch SOFM, and he is burning down. Gimgoon nets that kill.
Yeah, what are you doing?
The teleport was started and canceled by Flandre, so he's resorted to split pushing, but Gimgoon still has his own. Going for the greedy play, though. He is walking over instead of using it immediately.
Yeah, he should not. This is going to be a free tower.
The rest of Snake are racing over there as well, looking to turn this into a fight. Flandre just burning through its health so quickly.
He's going to go for it.
And immediately drops the Hextech ultimatum. Savoki over the wall, gets the wild growth, but it's not enough to keep Gimgoon alive. His greed costs him his life and his team the tower.
Good response, but it was a mistake still in Snake's favor because Snake, they were in a good position in the top side of the map. And it was SOFM that got caught out, but they recognized the fault that they've made. They recognized that Flandre was alone in his lane and that someone was going to be able to come and help out. So they get at the bot lane tower. Sure, Republic is going to be able to answer with topside.
Yeah. But more of the map is opening up for Snake, and we're seeing how aggressively they're pushing their vision. Game Talents, after finding that pick, have cleared out everything on the top side of the map except the control ward on the opposite side of red buff. So that means that they finally get a chance to breathe, return to their lanes, and slow things down a bit.
And what's scary about this? 40 seconds left until Baron comes up. Sure, that's a little bit too early for people to be worrying about that, but time ticks on. And as long as Snake do exactly what they did just a minute ago, pressure Flandre toward the bottom side of the map, and then just have everybody look towards clearing top side.
Oh, again.
Respect the pick.
Looking for these picks so aggressively. For picks specifically, like Savoki, it is just not great for him. Meanwhile, Mountain Drake looks to be the consolation for Snake. They've got so much vision set up around it. Game Talents are actually running towards the Baron, clearing out vision as best they can. They see the Mountain Drake goes down.
Yeah.
But they still don't see that red, blue ward on the backside of red buff. They still don't see the one in Tribush on the top lane.
They're essentially squatters here. They're not going to be able to hold the position. They're just going to clear as much as possible, then hide back into the lanes. Snake is always going to be able to reclaim this position because Snake have stronger lanes. They're going to be able to push out more frequently, and at all times, Game Talents are going to be have to answer these lanes.
Yeah.
And so whenever they get pulled out of the vision that they were able to accrue for themselves, they're going to lose it. But it looks like they may be okay. They're going to back away. They're trying to see if anybody maybe catch out Crystal.
Oh no, he didn't use the command attack.
Oh.
He literally walked through the brush, but because he wasn't doing command attack, he was doing right-click move.
Yep. Just don't see it. Some players, they
Unlucker.
focusing too much towards the wave at the top side of the map.
Yeah.
Looking ahead, looking to the future, framing it in the most positive way imaginable.
I mean, we're trying, but right now, Snake seem to have found their momentum. They've got a very strong pick composition. They're maintaining vision. They're contesting Game Talents whenever they can. But now Game Talents are forced to sit back and react. And it comes down to the question of how long do these fights last? Will they be able to find the picks? Republic cleanses as Zatai flashes, but he has to walk out on top of an equalizer. Savoki gets destroyed. Dark Passage gets the tie to safety. Gimgoon tries to turn to OQ, but Crystal goes in. That's going to be SOFM joining the fight as well, and OQ is doing work. Shubin cleans it up, but that's Hextech ultimatum. He's trying to kite this out as best he can, but it is not enough. Republic is just completely stalled out by Crystal as Gimgoon barely survives. It's 3 for 3 when it's all said and done.
And that is still a major loss for Snake, because Snake was in a good position. But once again, SOFM is in his own jungle farming up, and you look towards the top side, Zatai was clearing a ward on his own. Should never be the case. You have to look towards your Thresh to be able to be in position in between where your carries are clearing out so he can save with Lantern. That pick should not have worked, but it's because they're able to poke holes in Snake's ability to create pressure. They're recognizing with the Twisted Fate, oh, this guy's alone, as I say that. Republic, you're alone as well, you have to watch out.
Yeah, just playing a very dangerous game. He gets hit by a single skill shot. He will be stunned and dead, but gets the sidesteps and keeps himself alive. Here's the play again.
Yeah, so Elise is nowhere near where Zatai is. Same with Thresh, same with Lucian. So Zatai had no reason to be here. He still deletes Savoki, who still has ulti but did not expect that. And OQ is doing a lot of damage. And so individually, Snake are doing a lot of damage to even this up. Even up an uneven play where, yeah, Syndra was not going to be able to come back into the play. She comes back because of how well the fight is going, but she's not able to do consistent damage. Crystal comes in, or at least Flandre comes in a little later. So they outplay that position, but they just need to be in the proper position to start. But Persistence, once again, Snake are going to go right back into this area. Flandre is all the way back in the bottom lane. Game Towns is like, oh, I thought we just broke this up a little bit of time ago.
Yeah.
But that's because if you look towards how many control wards are up for Snake, every single member has a control ward.
Yeah.
In fact, SOFM has 2, just in case one of them gets killed. So Snake are playing, they know what to do. They
so much priority around these picks. They know, they're trying, they just have to execute itself. Execute game talents. I mean, they have to execute the play and execute game talents.
Yeah, execute every single member.
Now they're trying to execute Savoki, but Cocoon range apparently slightly longer than the death sentence there, as Crystal wasn't quite able to follow up.
Ooh.
They managed to get some burst onto Xiaoyu over the wall, but luckily Wild Growth keeps topped up.
That's a big win, and Zubin.
Yeah, pinned down with the ultimatum. He's eating some harass. Gimgoon Zanya is really early, using the equalizer way too soon as well. Flandre will kill him as Republic leaps into 4 people and gets destroyed by the flanking SOFM. Snake find 2 quick people out of position.
2 for nothing, and the best thing about it is that everyone on Snake is pretty healthy. They're going to go straight towards this Baron, and I don't even think they're going to start it. They're just going to try and lure Xiaoyu, Zubin, Savoki, just about anyone to come and take it, because the picking power from Crystal is too strong. Look at where Crystal is positioning right now.
It's a trap.
He's looking for a hook. He gets it.
He actually catches Savoki. Savoki dies as the Baron falls, and now it's 9-7 with a quick 6,000 gold lead and Baron buff. Snake have got complete control of this set.
Yeah, and they knew how to play around Baron. Once again, Crystal's positioning was, if we get the Baron, that's fabulous, but we're also going to get a kill 100%. So this is a major win for Snake. They pulled out ahead, 7K gold lead. This is a game that they wanted to take.
You can see a lot of that gold is on Flandre, on that Camille, getting the chance to carry in this game. 2,500 gold ahead of Gimgoon. And perhaps showing us that, hey, maybe the Jace isn't quite up to par, but Camille definitely still looking hot.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of Camille's go towards Titanic Hydra. He's going to go for a Ravenous, and he's going to get a Kindle Gem on top of that. Kindle Gem, probably going to be for the Magicker's Asylum. There we go, Spirit Visage, because he knows the only players that's going to go up against him is going to be Gimgoon, and he's going to be able to win that incredibly hard. So the split push is very real right now. That threat's definitely online. And it's going to be up to Game Towns to somehow find a way to stop it. It's going to be on the skirmishes that they've been forcing with the Twisted Fate this far.
Yeah, I mean, currently Republic is flanking just outside of Vision along with Gimgoon. It's do or die for Game Talents. They're going to force the fight here. Equalizer to cut it out. Republic's in the back. He finds the tie and slows all of Snake out, but his team doesn't follow up. Despite finding the perfect flank, the perfect collapse into the tight choke corridor, there's no follow-up, and Snake walk away.
But he's able to get out there safely. Republic was able to showcase that sprinkler. No one could touch him. He backs away, and the entire siege falls. So the tower in the mid lane is still up and available. Snake have to back away with the Baron they have. That's a win for Game Town, that they were able to stop that entire pressure.
Yeah. But just like any good dance move, you've got to show us that there's more than just the sprinkler.
Yep.
You got to be able to roll the dice. You got to be able to move something, anything. But there's no follow-up, and Snake are able to walk away.
I forgot about the sprinkler as a dance move.
Sprinkler?
I really like that one.
It's really old school. But Snake now looking for that tier 2 in the mid lane. There's no defense.
Oh, no.
Flandre has found
Why are
Republic.
you out here?
Oh, God, that was just brutal. And they find the picks that they're looking for. So Snake, they play the vision game, they play the pick game, and it yields massive rewards. As the first inhibitor goes down, Republic is dead. They've still got Baron buff on them for another 60 seconds. Not a lot of wave clear.
Yeah, nothing really will stop them. This will have to be a game-ending fight from Game Talent.
Yeah, they've caught Gimgoon with a quick stun. OQ is just burning through these turrets, looking for the next one.
Wait a minute.
Flash engaged from Zatai onto Shubin to push him away from these minions, to keep them safe, as OQ will try to heal up. He eats an ace in the hole, but Crystal blocks it for him. That's an equalizer. And Gimgoon is back against the wall, tries to force the fight, but his Flame Spitter is interrupted. He's trying to turn it around, and Xiaoyu leaps away. OQ in the front as Crystal misses that death sentence. The Nexus laid bare. Saboki flashes forward. He gets the picks, but doesn't have any follow-up as Xiaoyu slows. Shubin continues to chase forward. Crystal will sacrifice his life so that his team can't escape. Gimgoon is still going for this.
Oh, no. There's no stop to this train. Ulti from Twisted Fate.
Yeah, he's trying to get in for the flank. Now Flandre is there. OQ is burning down, but it's not enough. Republic is the target. Zanya's is not enough. Power Unleashed trying to catch Xiaoyu. Gimgoon continues to slow down whatever he can.
God.
Flash sidestep in this fight is still going. Finally. What are you doing, Game Talents? You just lost the game, but you're still winning.
Yep. Even when they're losing, they're still winning. That was
Hashtag
ridiculous.
Tiger Blood.
that is Tiger Blood. Because they're always winning.
Yeah.
Game Talents, that was ridiculous. The TP flank play coming in from Gimgoon. Sure, I don't even know if it's 2,900 goal on that one, on the Baron power play, because I don't even know if it calculated the Game Talents comeback. We're going to have to question them.
But they were on the Nexus.
Yeah.
And then Game Talents were like, we'll fight you.
In all fairness, it's still a 9K gold lead from Snake. All right. We reel it on back, as the observer is pointing out. TP right there. TP for Flandre. Could very easily just go in for a flank
it
at
just
any
came off
moment.
cooldown.
So this is still a major win for Snake, even when they lost out. They don't want to lose in those fights, but they're still in a great position regardless.
Oh my goodness. Somehow Game Talents hold on. 29 minutes in. Down nearly 10,000 gold. Now they're going to go back to playing the map, setting up vision, and looking for those picks once again. Because if they find a pick onto a high priority member, they will almost certainly have a clear path to the Nexus, a clear path to victory. And that'll bring us to game 3.
And you could tell how much that observer wanted Flandre to just TP in at any time.
Just help.
Just get in there.
Just go for it.
He was just zooming in on him, giving in all kinds of scenes, all kind of camera shots.
Yeah. SOFM, you can see, still very much in the zone, despite very difficult game number 1, getting 5 target bans and Elise picked away from him.
Yeah, so the fact that they were able to take this game in commanding fashion and being able to adapt and say, actually, we're not going to hold on to jungle pick until second phase. We're just going to pick it up in first phase. That's a smart adaptation.
And how that's changed that their entire style in this game. It was Camille, Syndra, and Elise. Not exactly huge pick. I mean, Syndra can use the Power Unleashed to sort of knock people back, or Scatter the Weak to knock people back for a stun, and then you've got the Cocoon to follow it up. But that, to me, that doesn't scream pick composition.
What it screams to me is just pressure comp, side lane comp, which is really fun to see because it's Elise setting up the alley-oop, saying, you know what, top lane Camille, you're going to be doing incredibly well. No one can 1v1 you, no one can duel you. Same with Syndra to a certain extent. Can really side lane up against Twisted Fate quite well. Then you look towards the bottom side of the map, and Lucian's come back. So this is the first time we're really just seeing Lucian on the screen here. And he's going up against, what was it again?
Caitlyn.
Yeah. Why am I doubting myself? So he goes up
Caitlyn.
against the Caitlyn, and he should be able to deal with that just as the same.
Yeah.
So there's no way that Game Talent can ever side lane against them. They have to constantly push in 1 or 2 waves and then swap mid. It's just really hard, especially since Snake are constantly shoving in waves, constantly clearing out vision and going for those picks.
Yeah, it really does look like we're seeing a lot of pressure from Snake all across the board, not just in that bottom lane, but in that Syndra, in that top lane. Here's actually a replay of that final fight that we just saw. Somehow, Game Talents get themselves back into this.
Yeah, no one, I don't understand here. You can even see Snake going in for the play to get one pick, and they can really only get that one pick to get themselves back into the game, because OQ is online at this point. He just needs one rotation on a champion to be able to completely demolish them. So that's Avoki, that's Xiaoyu. But then as the fight goes on, no play is really presenting themselves to it. Twisted Fate's able to catch up. The TP comes in from Game and they're just blowing people up. OQ has to back away. Same with Flandre. Lulu is almost going to get killed there. But that was just a great chase, great skirmish from Game Talents to be able to take that fight in the jaws of defeat.
Yeah. Question is that enough to get them back into the game? Sure, they want to fight. Were able to reclaim some semblance of map control and vision around their base. And they've cleared out all of the wards at the Nexus. But the Nexus is exposed.
Yeah, they'll need a couple of those.
Yeah.
They're not only ordering just one of those, not two. They need 3 or 4 of those fights to be able to get that.
I like this. Another.
Yep. Get 5 of them. They need as many team fights as possible. They may not even get those team fights going for them, because at this point, Snake should be so confident in getting just rushing that Nexus.
Yeah.
Just getting a Zerg rush in there. They should be quite comfortable in just rushing.
5-man bull rush down mid lane. Just play it straight ARAM. I mean, that's pretty scary in itself when you've got what is now a 3-item Caitlyn and a almost 3-item Rumble. As it is, though, Baron's up in 2 minutes. Ocean Drake was just taken by Snake, or excuse me, Cloud Drake was just taken by Snake.
I definitely wouldn't advise it, but I'm just saying it's possible, yeah.
Yeah. Instead, they're just going to set up Vision once again. 5 control wards on that top side of the map. They are so set up for a pick. Shubin is like, you know what? Nah, we're just not even going to try it.
Oh, that's a perfect ward coming in from Game Talents to catch out Camille in rotation. Every single time he takes a step in that jungle, they see it. They see him coming towards the mid lane. They see him, if he decides to be sneaky about him moving towards the next, it's not going to be possible from him.
Yeah. They've completely sacrificed Vision on the top side of the map, not risking any sort of pick, knowing that they will have to manage to defend against the super minions down the mid lane, split push Camille, and then the remaining members of Snake. However, Snake decide to go for a unified recall. All 5 members disappear off the map, and then a lot of assist pings going towards the jungle of Game Talents. But Game Talents have no idea. They have no vision on that side of the map.
Yeah, they're going to have to roam in as a team if they want anything done here. And what's funny is that their engage force is a Twisted Fate with Zonya. So it's very possible for him to go in for a pick and then instantly turn into a statue. You can't see him. But that's really hard for them, especially since they're going to be struggling in that front.
Now they find Flandre and SOFM as yet another ward gets cleared out. Snake relentlessly denying the vision of Game Talents, trying to force them to panic, to face check into the pick composition, to face check towards that Baron. You can see Crystal and SOFM leading the charge. If somebody walks forward, somebody who shouldn't, like Shubin or Savoki, that's a free kill. Or Xiaoyu in this case. There it is.
And just take a look. Baron is now up, and the jungler is taking it easy, vacationing back in the base.
Yeah, Flandre's even teleporting in, but there is nothing Gimgoon can do to stop this. All 5 members of Snake now turn into the pit. And still with no vision, Game Talents have to very cautiously make their way over there. Baron is picked up. Snake have got this game in their hands.
And that's what we always say. That's what we always think about. And you know what? This game should have been over 10 minutes ago. But Game Talents are fighters. Traps being set up by Zubin. They're just gearing up for a fight. That's what they want.
Yeah, the inhib is back up in the mid lane. So at least they don't have to worry about super minions. But 5 members of Snake plus a Baroned up wave is now rushing down like a great tsunami ready to break upon the shore of Game Talents' base.
Game Talents have to force the fight before Snake walk into this base because of how exposed this Nexus is. They can't afford to force a fight near the Nexus, or else they'll just say, hey, you know what, we'll just take the Nexus. The inhibs are up, so Snake have to go towards that one first. Oh my god, they're just taking a lot of pot shots here.
Yeah, Flandre eating those quite happily. Redemption to top himself off.
That's okay.
And now they turn onto the inhibitor. They've still got Baron buff, going to rely on that raw damage. Stun onto Gimgoon. They focus Shubin in the back. He's healed up. Is it enough to keep Caitlyn alive? It is. Guardian Angel is popped by Flandre. Gimgoon using that equalizer nice and early goes down. Republic gets a stun. It drops Camille, and Shubin's trying to kite it out. He's flashing as far back as he can. That's Republic now going down, and with Savoki dead on the fountain, Zatai zoning him back. He kills that one. OQ looks for revenge and dies on the steps of the fountain, but now the inhib has finally been cleaned up by SOFM. They turn on to the Nexus, and unless Xiaoyu gets a miracle deny, this is the Nexus. There it is. Crystal with a quick shutdown says, no you.
Swag.
No you. I dare you.
Just dancing it about.
And that's it. The Nexus goes down. Snaker bringing us to Game 3.
And what a way to win it.
What a way indeed. Snake looking very strong. Picking the pick comp and executing on the pick comp. Looking like they had a plan from step one.
It was definitely a game of persistence. Once they had the lead in their favor, they kept going back to it, saying, hey, you know, it didn't work the first time. Someone got picked out. It didn't work the second time. Someone else got picked out. But why not try it a third time?
And then it started to see success. So joining us on the desk, someone whom we have picked ourselves, Indiana Frost here in black.
Hi, guys.
Thresh hooked you back in.
Yeah, speaking of that Thresh, it was kind of sculpted from the very beginning. Of course, I get the privilege that I get to sit back and listen to you guys while I'm watching Champion Select, and I was like, Crystal would probably go for Thresh here, just because Snake always run 1-3-1s. And the difference between Braum and Thresh is the disengage potential of the Dark Passage versus, I mean, Braum can throw out a Q. He's not a terrible disengage champion. But we know that Snake are consistently putting themselves in these scenarios where they're using the Karma, they're using the Lulu, OQ and Crystal are buddied up with SOF from the mid lane, while Flandre and Zatai out into the side lane. So it was a game plan straight from the beginning. It's why I liked the adaptation of Republic, then looking towards the Twisted Fate. He's like, okay, I see your split push, and I raise you the hose Twisted Fate. Unfortunately, though, the side lanes got ahead from Snake. Camille was huge, and there was really nothing that game talents could do. Like, Snake threw down the gauntlet. They said, we cannot fight them. We constantly lose, so let's not fight.
Yep, never fight.
Just keep picking them off.
Exactly.
And it's great to see Crystal having another champion, right? Because you see the Nami, you see the Karma is like, well, just play another champion. All right? I know they're all good, but I want to see what his preference is once you get past that point. It turns out to be the Thresh. So it's nice to see that now in the back of your head, you're going to go into the next champion. So like, oh, he's going to pull out Thresh this time. Is going to be Thresh Lucen because that's just the win lane comp. We'll see. It looks like that's the case.
But I think it does expose Snake because they kind of have that one identity, and they're just so counterintuitive. So, like, game talents, as long as they can take away disengage tools from Snake or draft themselves even more important hard engage, things like Ashe, things like Jen, things like Kled, which unfortunately has been banned back-to-back against Gimgoon, would be the ultimate undoing from Snake. Something that they cannot disengage from because that's what they're entirely reliant on. Run around, have Flandre win a side lane.
Yeah.
It's working out, apparently.
And that's exactly, to expand on what you said, just banning away that Kled, forcing those sorts of fights. That's what we saw. Game Talents took the fight that they were literally Nexus exposed, and they tried to force it and saw success. It was Snake's greed that punished them. The fact that Crystal flashed back in to look for the hook, and the rest of the team hesitated depending on that, which allowed Game Talents to follow up flank and get those final kills, which stalled out the match.
That's why I like the idea of two champions. You mentioned the Kled, and then there was the Twisted Fate. The Twisted Fate didn't work out, but when you come against Snake and SOFM, there's going to be a lot of greed involved. Sometimes people just going out and de-warding when there's no business doing that, or just farming up a jungle when they shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
So then there's the constant collapse in the back of your head. So I like the fact that Kled has just been banned constantly. The game talents don't have access to that. They went towards the Twisted Fate, just didn't have the same success.
Yeah, and now there's kind of two different routes that they go. So either they prioritize that hard engage by taking priority pick from blue side. You know, they get themselves the Kled, possibly, or they get themselves something like an Ashe as opposed to going the Caitlyn route. Or they take red side, and they actually commit to a counter pick matchup for Gimgoon. He's prioritized or picked first Rumble a couple of times or in early rotations, simply because you can pick Rumble blind. You're safe to do that. But, like, they need something to cut down the Camille. It was the priority to pick this time around, but you have to shut it down. You cannot give Snake the ability that if one of these lanes gets snowballed, they can abuse it, because they can't play 5v5.
Yeah.
They can only play 4-1 or 1-3-1.
And that was the Camille priority pick actually in game number 1. It was the very first pick for Game Talents on red side because it ended up slipping through. A little bit of disrespect from Flandre. He took that Jace into the Camille and then ended up suffering, which then proceeded to get banned in the next one. And now that Camille was priority picked by Snake. So this time, Snake have got side choice. They chose blue side in game 1 and then got pushed onto blue side when Game Talents chose red in game number 2. Assuming this trend continues, Snake will get blue side in game number 3. Is that something they continue to focus on? As you can see, MVP on your screen is Zatai.
I think there's a lot of comfort between both teams. Game Talents want specific matchups. Meanwhile, Snake do want the priority pick, and the priority has generally been towards, I would say, either top lane. They haven't been priority picking their jungler, which is interesting to see. This time they did raise that priority just a tad bit. They're not really interested in the counter matchups, which is very fun. It's fun to me to see that, mostly because you look towards Zatai and you look towards the top lane matchup in Flandre. You usually do think of those players as strong laners and would play assassins or damage just carries in general.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're passing that off is interesting to me.
Yeah, I agree with the sentiment. I just think that, again, both these teams are fairly binary. And I just feel like Snake have been figured out by Game Talents. It's just now a matter of if Game Talents could catch them. It's literally like they're just trying to weasel out of everything and scurry around the map.
Almost as if Snake were a snake and Game Talents were a mongoose, just trying to keep them in the trap. It's sort of old. Do you guys not know about like snakes and mongooses?
No, I have no idea.
I had a mongoose bike.
We'll get back to that. Game 3's coming up soon.